GI TV is brought to you by KWA, G&G Armament, Operation Lion Claws, Palco Sports, ICS, and Javelin Airsoft Gunworks.
Hi GI TV, I'm Bob the X-Man Hildebrand. I'm very happy to be back here again today because I'm going to talk to you about an M4 that I really like. Just kidding, we're actually talking about World War II airsoft guns today. I went down to the warehouse and basically took a look at the vast majority of our World War II guns and realized that we have quite a selection. So, without further ado, this is the G&G G980 based off the Kar 98, which was the main infantry rifle for the German Wehrmacht during World War II. And what I find interesting is that they would actually use this in combination with an Mp40 machine gun to form a 9-man rifle squad. And they would basically do fire and maneuver warfare, and it was very effective for them until they came up in certain circumstances against platoons and entire battalions of Russian infantry that were armed with submachine guns. So in close quarter fighting, a bolt-action rifle and one Mp42 was really not doing the trick. But this was effective for most of the war. It is not semi-auto, as you can imagine. This is a bolt-action rifle. The finish is actually incredibly impressive. They even have realistic German Wehrmacht markings on the top, on the metal of the receiver. That's the German, excuse me, that is the G&G G980. One last thing to mention is that in the box you actually get a G&G Sling for this gun that looks actually very official and very close to the real deal, and you get 2 mags. I really like having an extra mag right out of the box, and you also get a box of 500 rounds of .30 gram BBs, which is probably the gram BB you'd want to use with this just so you can punch through cover if you're playing in woodland terrain. Now next up is a German submachine gun. This is the Mp40. This is made by AGM. Now contrary to popular belief, as shown in a lot of movies, is that not every German soldier was given this, or not a lot of German soldiers were given this. These were normally issued to paratroopers, platoon leaders, and some officers. So when you see these in movies and everyone and their mother has one of these, that's not necessarily historically accurate. But this is a very fun gun. It does have a stock that will swivel back under the gun as you would expect. The vast majority of this gun is made out of metal with the exception of this part right here that's a bit off color. This is made out of Bakelight, which is rather interesting. Now what I also like about this is that it comes with a battery and a charger, and I just like packages that allow you to get out and play right away. So that's pretty nice. Now moving on, to counter what they saw as a woeful lack of firepower, the Germans developed the Mp44 Sturmgewehr, basically the precursor to almost all modern assault rifles. Now what's even cooler than that is that we carry 4 to 5 different versions of this gun. This is actually the Lancer Tactical. This is full metal and real wood. We've also got some other versions that have fake wood and full metal. It's basically just pick and choose as you see fit. It's a very cool gun. It is definitely heavy as they are supposed to be, but this is a piece of history, so I highly suggest you check this out. Now on the American side of things, we actually have a Thompson right here. This is made by King Arms. It's a very fun gun, or very realistic feeling gun. The stock is a bit different to get used to if you've never fired a Thompson before, because you have to hold it definitely a little higher in your shoulder. And it's different than most modern stocks right now. Now this does come with the regular straight box mag, but we also do sell a drum mag. But this is made by CYMA. This is made by King Arms. We also sell a couple other Thompsons, but I have to let you know that if you want to use a CYMA drum mag with a gun that is not made by CYMA, we cannot guarantee that it'll work properly, but I can guarantee that it fits on this specific Thompson. But again, can't guarantee it'll work. I just know that it looks pretty darn cool. Awesome. So that's neat. We've actually got just a variety of options for the Thompson. I believe we have 3 different versions of this gun in addition to the King Arms. Very fun gun. I've definitely seen it used in the airsoft battlefields quite a bit. The only thing is, just like the real deal, sometimes magazines can be a little tricky to get in, because this was basically the first real submachine gun. I believe this is the first actual submachine gun marketed as a submachine gun. One last piece of history though, in I believe the 30s, before they changed this gun to the name Thompson Submachine Gun, it was originally called the Annihilator. Pretty darn cool name for a gun that's pretty darn old. So that is available on airsoftgi.com. Now moving on to other American submachine guns, we have the Ares M3 grease gun. Now the reason this was made is because, well, Thompsons were a bit complicated to make and they just couldn't make them fast enough, so they needed something that was a bit less expensive, a bit quicker to make and get out to the field of battle, and that's where they came up with the M3 grease gun. You can see it's made out of stamped steel. It's definitely not the prettiest looking beast out there, but it was effective. Now what I like about the Ares version is that it's got a heavy amount of blowback on this, which is very entertaining. We also have the ICS version on our website. Now, one thing you should know about this Ares gun is that the battery actually goes in the magazine, which is a very different way of using magazines. And to be honest, If you're going to have a realistic M3 that's made out of stamped steel, it's going to be definitely very nigh on impossible to get the battery inside of this. So for realism, I give them that factor because you're going to get a lot of recoil. It's going to feel very much like the real deal. So check out the Ares M3 grease gun on our website. There's also an ICS M3 grease gun. Now moving on to other American weapons, I've actually got the WE 1911 latest edition airsoft gun. We don't have an actual World War II style 1911, but this is the closest I believe that we have in our inventory to that style. Doesn't really have a lot of different markings on it. It looks like something you'd use in World War II, and right out of the box, it comes with 2 magazines. Love that! Thank you, WE. Okay, next up is the Sten Gun. Now this is a World War II British paratrooper rifle. It was actually made because, well, the Brits were buying up every Thompson they could get their hands on, and they couldn't get them fast enough, so they decided to make their own submachine gun as cheaply and as quickly as they could, and that's how the Sten Gun came about. It's very interesting to hold against your shoulder. I actually prefer holding it at hip or rib height just so you can shoot like that on the move. The actual magazine releases on the top where the screw is. Very interesting gun. Alright, now that said, you could actually use the Thompson or the Sten Gun as a British loadout because the Brits were known to use the Thompson as well, but they were not big fans of the drum mags because a lot of times they had a tendency to jam or jiggle around and give away their position. So if you want to be historically accurate, that is a deal with that. Okay, last but certainly not least, I want to go over some German sidearms. Now right here we actually have the P38. This is an updated version of the Luger, or at least this is a more updated pistol that was serviced or at least given out to officers later in the war. It's a very functional gun, a very fun gun, and to be honest, a very small and concealable gun. So I really like this. Okay, now, last and certainly not least, as I look off camera for this thing, is probably one of my favorite guns in the entire repertoire. Whew, that was tough. Got a lot of guns right here. This is the Luger. Now this was a prized possession for GIs and other Allied troops in World War II to capture from German officers or dead German troops because, well, it was just a nice and neat thing to bring back to folks at home. It was just, I guess, a keepsake, so to speak. But it is a very effective pistol. I've actually been shot by this in an airsoft game many a time. So you're gonna actually, there's a mag release right there. It is a very interesting gun because you can also buy a snail drum mag for this. Let me pull this out right here. Okay. Now these were issued to German officers in World War II, obviously, but they also actually made a carbine version out of this gun. We've got 6 different versions of the Luger. We've got the one with a short barrel, a medium barrel, and a long barrel, and then 3 other versions in chrome. Now, what they issued to German artillery officers were the medium or the long barrel with this snail drum mag, and they'd even put a stock in here, thereby making this gun a full carbine. Very interesting gun. Most people I've seen use this in airsoft have the snail drum mag that gives you 50 rounds to fire. Thank you, WE. This was made by WE, and the P38 pistol, which I seem to have set down without looking where I did, is made by Maruzen. So Maruzen P38, and we've got 6 different versions of the WE Luger, and we also have a WE snail drum mag. Very effective in battle, and I gotta say, I mean, a lot of these guns you can take out to a regular airsoft game and just wreak havoc. So I would highly suggest, if you're in any way interested in any of our World War II airsoft guns, you take a look at our website and check out all they have to offer. Personally, I'm a fan of the G980 or G980 because it's a very good and effective sniper rifle. Anyway, again, I highly suggest you check out all we have to offer in the World War II lineup. You might just find something that you're gonna have a lot of fun with. I'm Bob the X-Man Hildebrand, and this GI TV.
Airsoft GI TV would like to thank Condor Outdoor, Elite Force, Contour Camera, Ares by Z-Shot, G-Code Holsters, and Vism by NC Star.
Hey, tired of being outgunned because you're on a budget? Well, worry no longer. With the Airsoft GI Savings Trifecta, you can find high-quality airsoft guns and gear and still stay within your budget.
I'm Sergeant Scott Graham from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. Airsoft guns can be mistaken for real firearms. Always carry them in the appropriate container and never take them out in public.
I'm Bob the X-Man Hildebrand, and this is GI TV. I'm also sweating quite a bit.